All right, so I'm under the house now doing the underhouse inspection. This is below that bathtub that was all filled up. And so it's got a slow leak on the drain. What you're gonna wanna do is replace the waste and overflow for this, which would be, this assembly is all one piece. So it looks like they did a repair on an old one, but obviously it's still having issues now. And then this is fed into new ABS pipe that I just got under here, but this is, looks like a good portion of this has been updated. Maybe when they remodeled the other bathroom, then it connects back into the older stuff to head outside. All right, I'm gonna get over next to this other bathroom. All right, so this looks like it's going to the other bathroom sink. And so this guy is leaking. That'll definitely need to be addressed. Get a couple shots of this. And then there's also a leak right over here on the older stuff. Let me crawl in and get a little bit closer. So this is rotted out right there. Focus this a little better. And then that's the other bathtub. From what I can tell, it's not leaking. But let's get a little closer and see for sure. Oh, no. There we go. It's a better angle. And so this thing's leaking on the same part. So it'll be the same thing as the other tub. So you can see the drip coming down. So that'll need to be addressed. All right, I'm gonna keep crawling around. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it for now. This right here is in the same spot. I noticed it before I started crawling here. This is corrosion on the pipe. So even though it's not leaking now, these are sections that could fail, which then come up and connect into this other stuff that's having issues. And so I'd recommend, at least at the very minimum, taking it back to here. All right, so this is the drain line for the kitchen and laundry. It's coming from over there. Then it comes here to the front side of the house and does a 90-degree turn. You could see some corrosion on the pipe right here. I already ran that on both the kitchen and everything. I don't see any leaks on this, but these are areas similar to those areas that we've seen previously in this video that are leaking. And the other thing I don't like about this line is that it comes all the way here, does a 90, and then goes all the way back there to then connect to the main. And so the reason I don't like that is because you're just making the line longer for no reason. And I don't like 90s if I could avoid it. That's where stuff tends to build up. I'm a service plumber, so I see these type of things. And when clogs happen, they typically happen at these turns right here first, before everywhere else. And then when you're snaking it with your snaking cable, average kitchen cable is about 50 feet, and this line's super long, just because of the route that they took. It would have been better to diagonal across the house and take a more direct route over to there to get to that point. But again, I don't see anything leaking. I'm gonna crawl over there where the kitchen and laundry connections are. All right, I made it all the way here under the kitchen sink area. This section of the water line is in really bad shape. I don't see any drips coming from it right at the moment, but this is definitely something that needs to be addressed. Piping shouldn't look like that. And then as for that line that I was just critiquing on how it ran all the way down the house and 90, that galvanized line, it looks like that was abandoned at one point. And so now the kitchen and laundry run an ABS, and they took a better route like I was explaining in the previous section. Underneath here though, sorry, I'm trying to get my camera at the right angle. This piping is not in good shape right here for the kitchen drain. And so that's the section that goes up into the wall under the kitchen sink. I'd recommend updating this guy. You could see all the corrosion on the bottom, and you could even see that it might have leaked in the past by the condition of the wood. But it's not a good look for piping. That's something that should get fixed. Ugh. ABS line runs all the way over there for the washer. And I see a lot of copper piping up here. I seen a couple spots, I think under the kitchen sink, I seen galvanized piping come out of the wall, but that just must be just that section. If we do open up that wall to fix this drain that I just showed you, we could always fix that. And then this is heading over there for the wash machine and connecting onto that in new ABS. So there has been work done to the house. This over here is a little bit confusing. So this is the gas line that hits the stove over there and then comes up and hits the dryer. This here looks like a gas line. And then it goes to over here, has a gas shutoff, which should be used on gas. But it's possible this line is abandoned. I don't know why there's two gas lines running simultaneous. And it even has a riser up here. And so it's the same thing like they did with this kitchen line possibly. See, that's the kitchen line that runs down to the front of the house and curves over. It's abandoned, but they didn't remove the old pipe. I don't like leaving old piping when I do repipes, because then it creates a confusing situation like we're in now, where I can't confirm if these are live or not live, because if they were replaced and rerouted, they didn't get rid of the old stuff. I always get rid of the old stuff because then it eliminates any confusion of what's functioning in the house and what's not. You don't have to guess and track stuff back down, different things like that. And so, all right, so that's it for this area. I'm gonna head over to the other portions of the house. Before I move on, I'm just gonna show you what I'm talking about. So that was the line I was saying that goes all the way down, takes a 90, cuts over. This is the rerouted line. And so see, now they just do a 45 diagonal it that way and then bring it on a more direct route to the main sewer line. All right, so I was on my way to the other side of the house, but I noticed this, that new line that I just complimented, they did it backgraded right here. So they went up. So it needs to have grade heading down the whole time. Otherwise you're gonna end up having grease cell in there and different things, and you're gonna notice blockages because of it. And so I'll track this line down towards the front, and we should be able to not have to replace it, but at least just correct the grade on it, adjust these straps and make it so that it goes downhill rather than uphill. So this is probably the reason that they backgraded that, so that they could get it through this ducting. It's still fixable. We'll just need to adjust the ducting along with the line. Once it gets past this area, then it starts heading downhill like it should. So it's just from here over to that previous spot that I showed you. We'd have to adjust the grade on it. And then we'd most likely have to adjust the strapping on this ducting too, so that the line could lower down. All right, so this is underneath that water heater. So it looks like the drain pan and the TMP that I was pointing out from the top side in the other video. It's just stubbed through under the house. So these need to be run separate of each other. The pan line needs to be ran. It could be ran in PVC and then stubbed out this way. And then this one needs to be either in CPVC or copper. I prefer copper just because it's a better material. Or PEX, as long as it has grade. And then that needs to go to outside. One of the bigger concerns I notice here is this gas line here is all corroded. And so this section at a minimum needs to be updated if you want to get rid of the risk of it failing. You want gas leaking underneath your house. And then these shouldn't be touching each other, because this right here touching each other is probably what's causing this to happen. It creates electrolysis. And then if you look on the other side of this guy, it's starting to rust over there too. So I'm going to list repair options on both of these gas lines. I'll also list an option to properly run the pan and TMP line. Shot of this. All right, so that's everything under the house except for the master bath. I'm going to make my way back over there. So this is underneath the master bath shower. This looks like it's a leak, but I think it's just masonry stuff they got on here. I ran this thing a long time. I didn't see anything leaking. I don't see any water on the ground. Maybe a slight leak on the trap. You're not supposed to have union traps. Oh, that's why. it's loose. So this is the reason you don't want union traps underneath the house. You're supposed to put in the glue ones. But as for that coming down, I just think that's just the stuff from when they did the tile. I don't think it's a leak on the actual pipe. Let me back this up for you. Get a shot of that. But yeah, underneath the house, you're supposed to only have glue traps, not union traps. And this one's a little bit loose. I tightened it up a little bit, hand tight, but it's gonna be a really slow drip on it. But we could solve it easy by just cutting this guy out and putting in a new trap. That's one of the more minor repairs that I've seen in comparison to the other stuff that I noticed on the house. And then it looks like the main line feeds through all the way to the backyard, which is a good thing because then it's serviceable. You could always run your snake in from the back of the house and run it through this, which then goes out the front. It was a pretty tight squeeze back into this area. To me, it seems like this might have been an add-on to the house after it was built. But don't see any other leaks on this side, and everything is all plumbed in copper on this side. And so that completes the under house inspection.